Hello, and welcome to The Experience Local with Russ and Scott. Each week, they bring you conversations with local Christian businesses and business owners. The Experience Local is brought to you each week by wonderful sponsors.
Copper Rock Real Estate. Commercial and residential real estate in the Mid-Willamette Valley. CopperRockRealty.com. Independent Merchant Brokers. Low-cost and no-cost debit and credit card processing. 877-460-4747. IndependentMerchantBrokers.com. Join Boson Hub Digital Development in supporting Kicking Cancer. Kicking Cancer provides support, education, and resources for cancer patients, survivors, and families. Kicking-cancer.org. More than just a home, the Arbor at Avamere Court in Kaiser. Arbor at AvamereCourt.com. Assisted living at Avamere at Albany. Avamere at Albany.com. Gina Deffa-White, Country Financial District Leader for the Willamette Valley area, is actively hiring financial advisors and insurance agents. Call Gina at 503-375-9670.
And now, your hosts for The Experience Local, Russ and Scott.
Ta-da! Welcome to The Experience Local, live with Russ and Scott. And as we go live today, it is St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. I don't know when you're listening to this. It might not be St. Patrick's Day for you, but I hope you're celebrating life no matter what day it is. Right, Scott?
Yeah, and we've got our clashing greens on for those people that are watching the thing. We've got incompatible greens. I think yours is a little more authentic, but the hat looks good, Russ. And happy St. Patrick's Day. And it's just a great time. We get to talk to a good friend today, Jim Kuhlman, and
yes,
as our guest here on Believers in Business, the Experience Local, which is available every Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific time. And if you happen to be in Texas Standard Time, Texas Central Time here, that's 11 a.m.
That's right. And if you cannot watch us live, you can watch us on replay or that, and that's available on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. But you can also hear us on podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, whatever your favorite podcast platform is. And for more information also about our radio broadcast on the Experience Local Network, you could go to local.theexperience.video and it'll have all that information, including information on Scott and I. We'd love for you to check that out. We also love for you to join and subscribe to our YouTube page. But if you want to go straight to our YouTube page, you can also go to theexperience.video, and that will get you directly to our YouTube page. You can subscribe today, but local.theexperience.video gives you a little bit more information. And Scott is good at setting those things up for us. Great job, Scott.
Thank you. The most fun way to listen, though, is on terrestrial radio. So this evening, KWIL. Listen to this broadcast on KWIL, and you can listen to it Saturday morning at 8:30 on KYKN. And so right there in the Mid-Valley, a couple of radio stations that are great friends, great partners. We're so happy to be a part with these two stations and all of our sponsors you saw at the beginning. That's what makes this show happen.
Oh my goodness. We are so blessed and so thankful for everybody who tunes in. And since Scott brought that up, I'm going to remind you of a couple quick things. And here you can see it right there that we have amazing sponsors: Copper Rock, Boson Hub, the Arbor at Avamere Court, IMB, Avamere of Albany, and Gina and the Country Financial team. And so thankful for that. But also we are listener supported. So if you want to bless this ministry and help us continue, we're coming up on 200 episodes. We can continue for more. We need your help. And you can go to that QR code or the comments will have the link as well. And speaking of 200, next week is going to be our 200th episode. So it's coming. We're excited about that. It's going to be a good one, right, Scott?
You know, I'm excited. We've got videos from a few friends. We're going to have special guest hosts. It's going to be a fun time celebrating 200 episodes. that's a milestone mark. 200.
Right.
It's hard to believe. And Russ, that's for the experience on Wednesday. This show, this month in March, we're celebrating 1 year on the air.
That's right.
This whole
It's
month.
amazing. March is the month. I'm telling you, March is the month. 1 year for this show, 3 years for the experience backstage, 200 episodes for the experience on Wednesday, and marketing with Russ mine this Thursday, 500 episodes. So we have got a lot of milestones going on. So we're excited about that. Well, listen, I want to tell you, I am ready to celebrate with Jim this morning, St. Patrick's Day. Got some calls and some messages from our friends in Ireland. Scott and I have direct connections to our Irish friends celebrating St. Patrick's Day today, and that's amazing. But I think it'd be fun to get Jim on and see what his favorite St. Patrick's Day memory is. What do you think?
Let's do it.
Now he's going, what are you talking about? You didn't tell me that ahead of time. Okay, here we go. Drum roll. Brrr, Jim Kuhlman. Woohoo! Hey, Jim.
Hi there.
So you have a very comfortable looking office chair there. Tell us about where you're broadcasting from today.
Yeah, well, we have a vacation rental over in Central Oregon that we utilize whenever nobody else is using it. And so I'm working remote with my wife over here from this weekend. We were going to come home yesterday, and then this snowstorm hit, and we thought, let's just stay another day. Let the roads clear out on a Sunday. So we are here today, and we'll come back to the Valley this afternoon sometime.
Yeah, probably a good, wise choice, Jim. I know I've driven in some of those crazy storms, and
see the snow out there.
Wow, look at that. Yes, I had some friends who were right up on the pass, and they're actually at that just on the other side on the junction that splits to Eugene and Salem, and they were buried feet and feet and feet of snow. So there's a lot of snow going on. So just for fun, out of the box, Mr. Jim Kuhlman, before we have you give your little intro of who you are, what is your favorite St. Patrick's Day memory? Do you have something that sticks out that you might want to share today, or is St. Patrick's Day just another day for you?
Well, I don't know that I have that many, although it was only a couple years ago that I happened to be in Ireland with one of my old employees who's now also a State Farm agent. And so it was his spouse, my spouse, and so the four of us, we did a road trip around, and it was so, it was so great because it had all the things that I love, adventure and travel and long-term relationships. And we got to do it together. So it sort of, that was my only time there that I've actually been in the country. And, but it proved to be one of those, I don't know, when I look at those photos of the four of us traveling around, just having crazy time together, it was just so meaningful that, the richness of life of all these things coming together.
Yeah, no, that is so amazing. And that's what we're all about here, about community, people coming together. So why don't we start, Mr. Jim Kuhlman? For those who missed your first episode, who is Jim Kuhlman? What are you all about?
Yeah, well, I sometimes say I am, I have a State Farm agency. We do insurance and investments, but it kind of is just a front, it's a front to just help people. I could have done a lot of different things. And, I'll be honest that I probably would have not chosen this had not. I felt like the Lord said to me one day, he woke me up from a dream and said, here's what the plan is. And that was 23 years ago. And I haven't one time doubted that was, his voice. So I'm enjoying the opportunity to, Jim Kuhlman is hopefully, faithful and trying and learning and, looking for ways to, serve others and bless others, and what I love about what my career choice here is I get to serve clients, I get to serve my team, I get to serve my family, the community. It feels very, I used to be a youth pastor, and my job here feels very pastoral. And in fact, no less pastoral than when I was a youth pastor at a local church.
And I want to talk about some of the stuff that you and Amy have been involved in. in the community. But I want to start first with the workplace, because as you said, you've been in this for over 20 years. It's allowed you to be of service. But let's talk about just the career. As people who are younger, maybe exiting college or thinking, what should I do? And you have people that come in and work for you, and as you said, have gone on and become own their own agencies. So talk about that and the career path for folks.
Yeah, I think, we stumbled upon something that I've found helpful as other people are trying to think of their own journey. And I think of it like a Venn diagram, like 3 circles. One circle is, how are you uniquely wired by God? We're all unique. There won't be another Russ Hedges ever before and ever will be. There's only one out of the billions and billions. There will never be anybody even remotely close. That's how unique God made each one of us, and internal and external. And so what's uniquely special about you, and trying to understand yourself in any ways that you can. There's a lot of different assessment tools and feedback, that you can get. But the second circle is, and what have you discovered that you really enjoy, that brings you life, that you, whether it's, it's not hard to kind of connect your passion to it. It fires you up. It's not hard to get up in the morning. If you can, the things you're good at, things you're passionate about. And then the last circle is, if you have a vision for your life, things you're trying to get to, who you want to be, what you want your life to be like, with relationships and finances and health and whatever. And you find something that is in alignment, like you can see that there's a path to get to where you want to get to. If you can find something that's in the intersection of those 3 circles and you just go all in on that, I just find it's the odds of pushing through the headwinds of life that are inevitable are so much better, there's no guarantee it's like some easy, and in fact, I'm sure it's not, but life's hard regardless, no matter what path you choose. Nice when something matches up. And I think there's something so helpful that I have discovered when, you can really tap into where you're trying to get to, and you see that you're on the right path. It just gives you this, this extra power to be less impacted by the day-to-day, buffeted winds that come.
Yeah, I love that. I was thinking of the quote by Mark Twain that says, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. And I think when you love what you do and you're passionate about it, that you will be driven and it's be so much more successful, like you said, be in alignment with everything you've got going on in your life. And a lot of that comes down to being intentional and really taking a look at where you are and what you want to do. I find so many people, Jim, are trying to be somebody that they're not. They're trying to be somebody else's dream that they think they have to align themselves with, instead of aligning themselves with who they are and what their passions are. And I think that's so important when it comes to our faith, right? So talk a little bit about that. I mean, our faith and God is our foundation, and that really needs to be in alignment with what we're doing as well, right?
Sure. Yeah. And in fact, I think it's so many things are vying to be our God, vying to be that thing that defines, who we are, gives us definition as to, how we feel about ourselves and how we see ourselves. And so, anything you put there, whether it's a relationship or your work or, money or, anything else is going to put you off balance. You're going to be, in a precarious, I think, position in life. But when you can get yourself, which is a constant challenge, but as you continue to try to just, I think, let God be on the throne of your life, it puts everything else in perspective, and it puts everything else in a balanced way that I think, you're more aligned, I think to get to where ultimately you're trying to get to.
And I want to talk about some of that. Maybe this is going to be a little more philosophical, but I'll just remind people, Jim Kuhlman of the Jim Kuhlman Insurance Agency is our guest on Believers in Business, the Experience Local here today. But just I want to talk about some of the different phases of life, because you're in a different phase of life than when we met. When we first met, our boys were playing little boy football, right, with Pop Warner.
Right.
They were I think kindergarten, first grade, right?
It was early. It was young. Yeah, whatever it was.
And
they looked like bobbleheads is what they looked like.
Exactly, right. I always said, and just about Pop Warner, I said Pop Warner has a lot of safety rules to protect the mothers. But let's talk about some of the different phases of life, and we've talked about some of the as people are getting older, heading toward retirement, getting toward that 65 years. Talk about some of the different things that people need to think about and prepare for.
Yeah. Well, I think if you first philosophically, I think, there's a good book called Halftime that, is a reflection of a father that lost his son, late in his career, and how that he had a renewed understanding of kind of what his place in the world was and how to serve, and completely transformed kind of his perspective on even what retirement meant for him, and so it's by a guy named Buford. Good book to read. But I think I think there is a need for maybe some deeper philosophical perspective along with your financial planning. Like we are, we live in a time in history and in a country of obscene wealth, comparatively. It's hard. It's always, and that's the trouble, is we compare. So of course we think, but I'm not, because of other people. But our standard of life compared to what life was like a couple hundred years ago is outrageous. What's available to us. But I think it's important to both obviously do prudent, planning, financial planning. I think, part of that taps into is I find, particularly as you go in the younger generations, one of the reasons I think we're seeing a struggle for people to do proper planning is they've lost a little bit of hope in the future. And if you lose your hope for the future, then why work for anything? Why plan for anything? And so I feel like part of my role, part of our, is to continue to remind myself and those people that we work with that, God is the future. We don't have to lose hope. He's still in control, despite whatever's going on social media or TV or politics or environment or whatever. We follow a God who's not surprised by any of this. And there are real things to be concerned about. Do not, I'm not saying any, to somehow downgrade, with the concerns that we of our times, but to lose hope, I think, is to, lose faith in, in the one who owns the future. So I think, that being a key, doing some prudent planning, but then also having a purpose about what is that season of your life ahead, having clarity and continue to ask, God, and, what is that season of life? Too often, I think in our country, we've kind of, the message is, once you're not working, you don't have any value anymore. And I think there is something in our culture that diminishes value for those, who, as they age, which is such a sad, truth, in that we are best versions of ourselves, as we age. We have more resources, more to offer others. And I would say how critical it is that people continue to infuse that season of their life with the things that, are most significant. And I guess, and everybody gets to create their own, but the idea of, not, and I may not, this may be a bit of a straw man, but, like moving to Arizona, living on a golf course and just golfing my days away. I don't know. It doesn't have much life to me in it. It doesn't feel, now there might be, obviously you could infuse that with a lot of other things, but I certainly think the American kind of classic dream of, you work so hard and then you just, you coast, that does not seem to be a biblical reality to me. And it doesn't feel like it's our best way to live. And I think those back years can be so meaningful. It is interesting. I just shared with my team this morning as I did a little research on St. Patrick, which I didn't know any of this, but St. Patrick was actually taken as a slave at 16. He was a British citizen, was picked up by an Irish pirate ship and taken as a slave for 6 years. He then gets away and makes his way back to England. And then through his young adult life comes to faith. And in that, we don't know too deep of the story, but what we do know is then at some point he determines the rest of his life is to go back to Ireland and share the faith of Jesus with these people who had taken him as a slave. Mm. And so he became the patron saint, oftentimes associated with, one of the first missionaries, of the faith in Ireland. And I'm, it's so antithetical of how we like, hey, we want to, you had a hard upbringing, maybe you were poor. And so you're like, I'm never going back that way again, and I'm going to avoid any discomfort that goes with that. Or, you had a harsh relationship with a parent and you're like, I can't wait to get away from my family or whatever, we break free, but then in, God's province, there becomes this new reality we can take on about, okay, what's the bigger mission of our life? And what if we go back, and there was a phrase I learned in my counseling, in the cave that you fear is the treasure you seek. Mm. And I think there's something about, this idea of like, what is it that we're afraid of? Let's face that with God and see what he does with our life.
Yeah, I think through some of the toughest times in life, it is true that through some of our biggest challenging things, we grow more, we become more. And when we push through that, like you said, and face our fears head on, it's amazing what God can do with our life. So I want to just touch on this before we're done today. We only have a few minutes more, but we wanted to, ask you real quickly too about family, because, you are a wonderful family man. And I just wondering if the family has fit into your business over the years, or are they just a support structure for you? What part do they play in all that you do?
Yeah, we've always, at least, philosophically, we've always called this the family business, to try to as much remind me and all of us that we're in it, whether whether it's obvious or not. Everybody's being impacted positively and negative by this business. So we needed to think of it as a family business. There haven't been that many practical ways. I've got 3 young adult children. I've tried to get all of them to get more involved. They've all had, small roles as they grew up and such, working. But none of them have kind of somehow, connected with the mission vision of this career. Fine. They're all individuals. I'm just a steward of them and as they figure their life out. But I have tried to, just live it out in a way, bring them in. We, talk through things, use it as a way to all of us, for us to grow and to be, vulnerable and honest about the highs and the lows of what this business can be. And I wouldn't surprise me. I feel like all my kids could all be wildly successful with this if they ever chose to. And maybe once, who knows, like me, I wouldn't have been ready in my 20s. I didn't start this career till I was young 30s. And I felt like it was such a pastoral role, CEO, business owner. I kind of needed a lot of life experience to do it well. So who knows?
Right.
Maybe they'll come back around at some point and look at it differently than they do now.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? Well, I know that you have an amazing wife, and tell Amy hi for me and
Thank you.
Scott.
Will do.
She is, I know, a great support for you, and
Yes.
that is so awesome. So, okay, so as we get ready to wrap the show up today, I got to be the responsible host. And if you could tell us your gold nugget from today's conversation, what do you really want people to remember from all that we talked about today? And how do people get in touch with you?
Yeah. I think I heard the phrase that has been really meaningful early in my life. Most people overestimate what they can accomplish in 1 year. And most people underestimate what they can accomplish in 10 years.
Mm.
And I think there's unbelievable power in catching a vision for where you'd like to be out in your life. It's beyond what we can even dream for what's possible. So I'd say, hey, finding that connection in your life, that place of how you're wired, what you enjoy, what you're passionate about, and what could get you to a dream. There's something about who we become, even in the process, that maybe is more important than even reaching the destination. So that would be my one maybe nugget takeaway.
All right. And people get in touch with you?
Yeah, Jim at jimkuhlman.com is an easy way to get a hold of us. There's my, I'm on LinkedIn. We're easy, Google. You're going to find me. And we'd love to, we want to help. We help people in a lot of ways. That I think of it like everybody should have a team of professionals in their life. And we can fulfill a few different roles. We can be your insurance professional. We can be a financial professional in your life. And so we'd happily love the opportunity to see if we could help.
That is so awesome. That's so awesome. Well, listen, Jim, we appreciate you so much. You're such an amazing friend. And thank you for being with us today. We're going to say goodbye here on the air, but hang tight for just a minute. We'll meet you in the green room. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Well, there you go. I tell you,
that's a lot
Jim
of wisdom that's a lot of wisdom in this half hour.
There's a ton of wisdom. Yeah. And I have learned from Jim over the years, and I appreciate him, similar to my friend, Mr. D. Scott Smith.
You're always kind, Russ. It's just great to hang out with you here on Mondays for the Experience Local. And then on Wednesday, when we get to do this with the original show, The Experience, on Wednesday mornings. So people can join us there. I encourage people to come in and get inspiration from people like Jim Kuhlman, who have a deep perspective of understanding what it means to have purpose, and purpose in God.
Oh my goodness!
Drive your life, right? At every stage, whether you're in grade school, college, young married, young parents, empty nesters, looking at retirement. God has work for us to do at every stage, and it's up to us to accept that responsibility.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you 100%. And I just want to encourage everybody to reach out to Jim. He's an amazing man of God. He's just an amazing friend. And so please do that. All of his information is in the comments in the show notes. You can click on it, go straight to it. If you're listening today, then you just want to remember, go to local.theexperience.video. And that will take you there. Local.theexperience.video today will get you to all the information about us when you have a moment to get on a computer. And if you remember the name of the show, you're pretty good. That should take care of it for you. But Scott, I just appreciate being here with you every Monday. Looking forward to Wednesday. This week will be our almost 200th episode, but coming up
199.
199 next week, 200 will be here. So make sure everybody and tune into that as well. And those are all available on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. But until then, you guys have an amazing, amazing week. Thanks for being here. We'll be here next Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific. It's daylight time. Until then, enjoy your life and enjoy
the experience locally.
Woo-hoo! Happy St. Patrick's Day. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to The Experience Local with Russ and Scott. Listen to the program on Spotify or wherever you listen to fine podcasts. Join in every Monday live at 9 a.m. Pacific on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. We look forward to seeing you next time on The Experience Local with Russ and Scott.